A few years ago, Eco Action volunteers found a beautiful great blue heron on the shoreline of a Central Florida lake. Unlike this heron, our unfortunate bird mistook a beer can when striking for a fish. We were able to rescue him from the trash, but in the end, he died. This is why we do what we do.
Take Eco Action!
Hello, I'm an Eco Action volunteer, and I'd like to tell you more about what we do every week to save the wildlife along the shores of Florida's rivers and lakes. We'd like to encourage everyone to volunteer or even start your own canoe cleanup, just like Eco Action. We understand that people have been told many times that littering is bad, and there are signs everywhere reminding people not to litter. Unfortunately, there are plenty of people who ignore these reminders and toss trash on the ground everywhere. When the rains come, this trash flows into the drainage system, then washes into nearby rivers and lakes. Moreover, landscape companies don't always check for this trash lying on the ground when they mow. This creates smaller pieces of trash that are blown or washed into the nearby lakes and rivers. This leads to trash piling up in the waterways where it becomes part of the environment where wildlife live. The animals don't always know the difference between trash and food. For instance, to turtles, styrofoam looks exactly like snail eggs, which they love to eat. After a turtle has filled itself up with a batch of styrofoam, it can no longer submerge and the turtle eventually starves to death. But we're here to help stop this. Every week since the early 1990s, Eco Action volunteers have been donating time and energy to pick up trash along Florida's waterways. We try to get the trash before the animals do. We clear trash from the shorelines, under the water, and from docks and bridges. Oh yeah, all those people who fish sometimes lose their fishing line and it becomes a major wildlife trap in the water and shore vegetation. Unfortunately, we don't get all of the trash, and some birds get caught in these discarded fishing lines and die horrible deaths. What we do every Sunday afternoon is meet at a designated shoreline in Central Florida. There, our team captain parks the Eco Action trailer with 11 canoes where we unload all the equipment for a cleanup. I can even bring my own kayak if I had one. We start off with a presentation by our captain who tells the team the rules and warnings before we launch. Once we're in the water, we use this grabber to remove trash from the shoreline or from the water. The yellow foam here on this grabber prevents us from losing it should it fall into the water. Once we're collecting, we separate the recycled materials from the trash. The other important piece of equipment is our monofilament can, which we use to store the fishing line because it is too dangerous, even in the garbage. That's why we collect it all and put it into a nearby county fish line recycling bin. They then take it to a place where the animals will not be harmed. The way we clean the shores includes a leapfrog type of searching. This way allows us to cover the shores close up and get as much trash as possible. When someone finds a large amount of trash, other volunteers join up to remove it as a team.
It really is hard work sometimes. Sometimes it is so stinky and smelly and dangerous and difficult that you really have to be committed to it to be able to do it. Other times, maybe we don't see a lot of trash and there's a tremendous amount of wildlife about, and I almost feel guilty for enjoying a day out on a lake or a river when I'm not working hard, but those are the rewards that come with it as well. The way we work on a weekly basis is that people contact us either by phone, through our website, by filling out a schedule reservation, by sending us an email, any way that they can get through. And we take those reservations for the upcoming Sunday afternoon. When we get full, we let people know that we're full, and unless they have their own craft, there won't be room for them. If it happens to be the kind of environment where shoreline cleanup is accessible as well, we invite as many extras as are possible because we can increase our effects by having shoreline cleaners as well as people traversing the banks. On canoe, there's a lot you don't see until you get in the water.
I started the Eco Canoeist group about a year by myself. Groups of my friends would go out, maybe 2 or 3, maybe once a month, maybe 4 times a month, clean up the Econ River, mostly Blanchard Park area, and we'd go out in canoes and just pick the litter out of the water. After a while, I wanted to get the word out of how dirty the rivers were and how dangerous litter is to wildlife. So I started keeping a journal of my trips. And I wrote this journal. This is basically it's a ship's log. It's a diary of our trips. And I went around from store to store trying to sell my journal. One of the stores I went to was the Eco store run by Beth Hollenbeck. And I went in there not realizing that she was a big environmentalist and a big supporter of what I'm doing, even though I didn't know her yet. So I went in there and I said, I don't know if you're interested, but I run this little eco canoeing group, and I kept a journal of our last 25 trips, and I'm trying to teach people not to throw cans and fishing line into the water. She grabbed me, and we've been friends ever since. And the Eco Canoeist people were separate from Eco Action, even though our names were kind of half the same. But then we blended together, and now it's the same entity.
We've created a presence in the community that, because of our longevity, is pretty widespread. The original concept that Stephen had, and that we have also continued and tried to develop on our website as well as in the public speaking and presentations that we do, is that this is a model. This is a model that can be copied anywhere. This can be done anywhere. I think really the main reason that Eco Action has enjoyed the high profile that it has is because we go out every single week. And every single week there is an activity that people can participate in to clean up the waterways. That's where most of our energies are focused. Occasionally we become distracted from that. But in the course of the last 13 years, we have done more than 500 canoe cleanups. It was a milestone that I don't think any of us ever even thought about when we were starting. We just plod along week after week, and anybody who can come on any given Sunday comes with us, and all of a sudden we realize, 500, we've got to have a party. So we had a party here in town at a local park. A few ecology-minded, very, very supportive vendors participated with us and helped to sponsor the event. They provided items to raffle, items to give away as door prizes, food for the occasion, and we raffled off a canoe. It was a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to celebrate.
For me, I've not been able to actively participate with the weekly canoe cleanups or go to meetings and so on. However, I have found my own niche with the organization, and that is providing funding. My company that I work for has a great volunteer department, and they provide grants to organizations that people volunteer for. So this works out great. We've been able to provide thousands and thousands of dollars in equipment for Eco Action. This is something that every community can do, and every person. You have plenty of shops and merchandise locations and restaurants in your area, and most of them, I'm sure, have some sort of philanthropic division or department. So it's just a matter of tapping into those and finding out what is available and help secure it for your local community and make a difference for your lakes and rivers.
This is a global problem, and the only way to address a global problem is to start locally, and that's what we do. There are a lot of lakes in Florida. We can't go to all of them, but we go to every one that we can. And with the help of other groups, not just canoeing groups, but also hiking groups, we can definitely solve this problem and get every piece of litter picked up. If we have enough people involved and enough people who care, we can make the environment pristine. Our group lists everything that we do on our website, www.eco-action.net. If you don't canoe or don't swim or don't like to get near the water, there are other groups that you can get to on meetup.com that do hiking cleanups and things like that.
What's important to me is that Eco Action is here for me to help. But we need more people to volunteer to clean up now, for my generation and others after me. After we've returned from our cleanup trip, we combine all the things that we collected and separate the things that can be recycled from the trash. After we finished our cleanup, we take our end of the trip photos.